Let's see. Good evening, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to Relationships Part 3. Man Up Mondays. Hope everybody is doing well. Please let me know where you're from. I'd like to get to know who's tuning in and who's joined the discussion. I want you guys to feel free to definitely ask any questions that you may have, make any comments, share any thoughts that you have, because relationships, this has been something that's been really heavy on my heart lately. Jasmine from Baltimore, what's going on? Oh, San Francisco, Merlia, what's going on? Miss you too. Thank you so much for joining our discussion tonight. Merlia, that is an awesome woman of God right there, who's passionate about impacting lives for the kingdom indeed. Bree from Louisiana, thank you for joining. I'm really excited to have you guys on. So, relationships. Oh my goodness. This is really important because you cannot build your future in the dark. You cannot fulfill your destiny. Oh, wow. Venice, Italy is in the building. Hey, what's going on, brother? All right. I have to visit there one day. I would definitely love to visit Venice with my wife. I mean, we're going to do some traveling and we're excited about that. So, let's get into it. Relationships. One of the things that I remember when I was single, this is before I got married, I said I would rather patiently wait than desperately date. One thing about desperation is that it can get us in big trouble. When we're desperate for something and we crave something and we want it so bad, it can often influence our decisions and often lead us into jumping into something. Every day, a man and a woman jump out of season or move in the wrong time when it comes to a relationship and end up settling for something less than the best that was intended for them. So let's talk about 4 things to remember when it comes to relationships. 1, you want to look for slim people. And I'm about to explain that. Yes, look for slim people. I've broken this down into 4 different acronyms. Slim people. First of all, you want somebody who has a servant's heart. One of the things that attracted my wife to me was that she loves how I serve. She observed me before we even went out on our first date. My wife observed me. I observed her as well. And to this day, she still really talks about how I serve others. And serving with a pure heart, serving not to get attention, not to get compliments, but watch how people serve. Are they just consumed with their self? Are they focused on themselves only? Are they selfish? Guess what, guys? Selfish people do not last in healthy relationships. Selfish people do not, because they don't give. They're not givers. And let me tell you something. Selfish people are often stressed out people. Selfish people are stressed out. Why? Because focusing on yourself can bring a lot of stress because you're consumed with what benefits you, what's best for you. But we weren't created to be takers. We were created to give because the person that created us is a giver. Isn't everyone selfish at times? Yes, everyone is selfish at times. We all have dealt with selfishness in some area, but I'm talking about someone who's consumed with themselves, that their focus is primarily them at the expense of others. And a selfish relationship is not a healthy relationship. So you want to look for people who serve, who are servants. Check this out. Mark chapter 9. Verse 33 through 34 says, after they arrived, and this is Jesus with his disciples, after they arrived at Capernaum and settled in a house, Jesus asked his disciples, what were you discussing out on the road? But they didn't answer because they had been arguing about which of them was the greatest. He sat down, called the 12 disciples over to him and said, whoever wants to be first must take last place and be the servant of everyone else. We live in a society that's consumed with convenience. We want what we want at the moment. We're not concerned and focused about how we can benefit others often. If you are selfish, how can you change? That's a very good question. So this is what I'll say. If you're a selfish person, how can you change? Start by doing something for someone else. Start by asking someone that you know, a friend of theirs, hey, how can I help you? Is there anything that you need? So that's how we start. It starts with one step at a time. Let's start thinking about, how can I benefit somebody else? Are there people who are less fortunate than me? People who have needs? People, how can I give? Doing community service projects. My wife and I, we are driven by a passion to give to others. We love missions. We love helping others. We love giving of our resources, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's just, and it doesn't have to be anything, extensive, anything long. It can start even by picking up the phone and saying, hey, how you doing? I just called to check on you. Wanted to see how you were doing. People appreciate acts of kindness. So you want to look for somebody that has a servant's heart. The second one in this word slim, love. We live in a society right now where love is based on feelings. Love is based on what's convenient. And we have to understand that love is not a feeling. It's a decision that involves commitment. And many times there are many people who, we all have expectations when we get in a relationship. We all have expectations of people. But there are times that we commit. We say we love someone. But when our expectations are no longer met, we make excuses and compromise our integrity. So love, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, that's the love chapter in the Bible. It talks about the power of love, why love is important. We have a lot of people that have gifts, that have talents, that look good. But if we don't have love, we have nothing. Love gives at the expense of self. Lust takes at the expense of other people. The difference between love is love gives, lust gets. Love gives. Oh, thank you so much for joining, Mr. Van Nostrand. God bless you too. I appreciate that. Love gives and lust takes. And see, a lot of us are so used to getting and taking, but not giving. And so what happens is when you meet somebody that can no longer give you everything that you want or everything that you expect or that you're used to, now, oh, this can't be the one. This can't be the one. This just cannot be it. And guys, look at this. You can tell a lot about someone based upon how they treat other people. A lot of times we aren't observant enough before we ask somebody out on a date. We don't take the time to observe people a lot. And I want to encourage you to definitely do that. Also, looking for slim people. The third thing that we want to remember, influence. Hang around people who have positive influence on others. Hang around people who have a positive influence. All of us have influenced someone in some way, whether it be positive, whether it be negative. And it's sad to say that a lot of people have gotten divorces, not because they didn't love the person, but because the person that they were married to created such a negative atmosphere. So they didn't divorce the person. They actually divorced their atmosphere because it had negative influence within it. So if you're not healthy on the inside, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know your identity, if you don't know how to influence positively, then how can you influence another person in a relationship? And our focus should be on giving, not taking. And fellas, let me tell you something. One of the things that I thought about this weekend, that I've heard guys say, well, you know what? Women are hard to please. Man, they high maintenance. I don't know how to do this. I don't know. They want all of this stuff. Check this out. It really is not as difficult to make a woman happy as we think it is. All we have to do is pay attention. You can't meet the needs of someone that you don't pay attention to. How do they need to be loved? How do they need to be loved? And we often tend to love the way we need to be loved instead of loving other people the way they need to be loved. I'll break it down to you. So the person that you're dating, the person, your mate, whoever, what have you, their love languages may be acts of service. It may be receiving gifts. Ours may be different. Your gift may be different. Yours may be quality time. But that's why it's important to take the time to get to know the person and how they need to be loved. And so what happens is when we try to overwhelm them in ways that we need to be loved and they don't receive it a certain way, or it doesn't do anything for them, we tend to get frustrated. We tend to get upset. But you have to take the time to get to know that person, develop that friendship. Friendship is the foundation for great relationships, for great marriages. Friendship is. Take the time to develop that friendship. And do not marry somebody that you have not seen go through a storm yet. And the reason I say this is we can learn a lot about people by how they handle difficult situations. Everything's good when things are going your way. But how does that person respond to difficulty? How do they respond to troubled times? How do they respond to a crisis? Because guess what? How they respond now, that's how you're going to see them respond when you guys commit, when you guys stay in a relationship. You know, everything is fine when things are going our way. It's easy to be happy. It's easy to be joyful. It's easy to compliment this person when they're doing the things you want them to do. But what happens? What happens when things don't go your way? How do you respond then? That brings out maturity. That tells you how mature a person really is. Also, you want a person that's married. Yes, you're single. A person that's married to their purpose. A person that is married to their purpose. You should see progress. It should be beyond the level of just potential alone. How are they moving in their purpose? What do they know their gifts? Do they know? And walking in purpose, that's a continual process. That's not something you achieve overnight. But whoever you decide to date, how are they progressing in their life? What positive changes have you seen? And it's not all about the money that they're making currently, but how are they striving to become a better person? What are their goals for life? What do they desire to achieve? Is the drive there? Because one thing you cannot teach is drive. You can't teach drive. You cannot force a person to want to be passionate about life. So when you're looking for relationships, you want someone who serves, who loves, who has positive influence on people, and who's married to their purpose. That's what I call slim. That's what I like to call slim. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Also, what's going on, Silas? Much love to you too, brother. But I'm just really, really thankful for my wife and thankful that we try to spend our time out serving each other. We love trying to outserve one another. So we have to take the time in our society to make sure that we're observing people, that the friendships that we have are healthy. Because wearing summer clothes during the wintertime never makes summer come any faster. Thus, jumping from relationship to relationship, trying to make things work or force something is not going to help you meet the person that's suited, fitted, and created for you. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Thank you so much. Remember, slim, serve, love, influence positively, and someone that's married to their purpose. It's better to patiently wait than to desperately date. Don't settle. Know who you are. You cannot be happy in any relationship if you haven't learned to be happy being by yourself. Too many of us aren't even happy being, with our own company. I bet you somebody listening, you're unhappy with your own company. You can't even handle being alone by yourself right now. But check this out. Relationships are like omelets. They're only as good as the eggs you use to cook them. What you bring to the relationship, what you and that other bring to the relationship determines what it's going to be. So are you bringing selfishness? Are you bringing a lot of baggage? Are you bringing expectations based upon past hurt? Are you bringing, negativity to it? Because check this out. I really believe all of us have some kind of baggage with us. But what's going to make that relationship a healthy relationship instead of a toxic relationship is how we handle it. It's sad to say, there are some people that will intentionally, that are actually unintentionally, they don't realize it, but they will sabotage a good, healthy relationship because that's what they're accustomed to. They're accustomed to things going wrong. So unconsciously, they'll sabotage it because they'll say, hey, what are you here for? What do you want from me? You here to take from me too? You here to beat me down verbally? It takes the right man to break down walls. And that's why it's important that our focus be on God, be on our purpose, be on what we were created for. Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Seek God first. Know your purpose as you're running down the path. The purpose that the person that is intended to walk with you will be on the same path. Have a great evening, guys.